The Sandy and Toddcast is a Mind Garden media podcast in association with
Screw You, Todd
Productions. Another audio cast from the Sandy and Toddcast. It is Todd. Hi.
Hi, it is Sandy. What's going on?
Well, it's another podcast is what it is, and we're up to our second part of our talk with Holly Hughes this time around.
Hooray for Holly Hughes.
I love that. I think it's funny. I think it's ingenious. Of course, I came up with it, so I think it's just, the cat's meow. I think it's the cat's meow.
She's going to love it.
Holly Hughes Intuitive is who we're talking to next. It is Season 3, Episode 10. Hooray for Holly Hughes, Part 2. And it's next on the Sandy and Toddcast.
Tarot time. If you're listening to this podcast, the divine messages are definitely for you. Let's combine science and magic, shall we? Root cause analysis, business planning, counseling, and good old-fashioned intuitive tarot readings so we can improve your near future circumstances by addressing your present scenarios. Please follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. For more in-depth tarot consultations, please book your readings at positivetarotwisdom.com. Infinite love and blessings for everyone.
Broadcasting from two very different yet magical places not found on any map. Get ready to discuss the strange, weird, ghostly, crazy, spooky, and odd things that take place around us each and every day. All while having a little bit of fun. This is the Sandy and Toddcast.
Season 3, we're up to episode 10 already. The Holly Hughes interview called Hooray for Holly Hughes on the Sandy and Toddcast.
I'm not even going to say, oh my God, I'm so excited we're on. I know.
This will be the first podcast in all 3 seasons that you have not said that. The first podcast.
Is it wrong that I'm so excited to be doing this with you? I love doing this. This is so much fun.
Every podcast. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take you saying, I'm so excited. I can't believe we're all ready. And then I'm going to insert my voice going, Season 3, Episode 10.
Okay, stop making fun of me.
No, that's what's good about our podcast is me giving you hell left and right, and you giving me hell left and right.
And I take it well. It's because I love you, so I just go with it. Whatever. You know what I was saying the other day? Do you remember when I was saying to you that right now I love listening to the paranormal and woo-woo podcasts. I love the true crime podcasts too. And I have Audible. And so I'll search once in a while for new podcasts to listen to. And right now, I'm not feeling an awful lot of the paranormal podcasts out there. I don't know why. It's just, it's been hard for me to find a podcast that I can really get into. Mm-hmm. So I started reading or listening to a book about the one and only Ed Gein, which you made fun of me for.
No, well, I did make fun of you because how much Ed Gein can you have in your life? I mean, unless you actually get a nipple belt and hang it on your wall or wear it, I think we've probably had our fill of Ed Gein.
But at least until next summer. But listen. I'm going to tell you something. Listen, let me tell you something. It was such a personal experience for me. I didn't expect it to affect me as much as it did. So it was so much of a personal experience for me, the things that happened, and then the things that happened to us a few weeks ago, that now I sort of I really want to understand it. And that's sort of my empath, I guess, intuitive side, is I really want to start to understand what really happened. Not all of the stories that you hear, but I really want to understand who these people were. And so I'm reading or listening to this book called Deviant, and it's about Ed's life story. And the first section of the book is him as a child, which is something that a lot of people don't know about. They don't know how exactly he was raised. They don't know the details of it. They don't know the intricacies of how Augusta really was, just that she was evil and she was controlling. And I got past the first section of the book. I thought it was excellent. And by the way, like I told you last night, Oshkosh, where you live, actually has ties to Plainfield from the early settling days in the early 1800s. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But anyways, I haven't been able to find any really good paranormal podcasts that I really can get myself into lately. And it made me appreciate ours a little bit more. And I'm going to toot our horn for a second, because you and I are very just honest and straightforward. And, you know, we go through the same things that other people go through. Just maybe our paths are different, but we still have very similar experiences to others. And I think that really helps people to feel like they aren't alone. We're not sitting there, you know, swearing left and right. We just are very honest and basic about what we feel, what we experience in life in general, and what we share with everybody. And I think that's really relatable. And I think that's why people like us, because we aren't one set in stone kind of podcast. We kind of talk about life. Yeah. And life, you know, here on Earth, doing what we're doing, life beyond Earth, life before Earth. I mean, we get into the woo-woo stuff when we start talking about healing and past lives and all that, because I think it's all tied together. I mean, you and I have had this conversation before. Mm-hmm. Our quote-unquote ghosts, and as I say that, I'm doing the air quotes. Are they really ghosts, or is it just another timeline where this is actually happening? You know? Right. And I think when I got into paranormal, it was about ghosts. I wanted to see a ghost. Mm-hmm. But the more I'm around that stuff, and the more I investigate, and the more I read, and the more I learn, and the more people I talk to, the more I just think we're talking about energy. And I think that we just don't know where that energy is coming from quite yet. There's so much that we don't understand. And I'm actually somewhat skeptical of most of the stuff that I see and hear. I'm the kind of person that I have to rule out everything else before I say, okay, that's spiritual, that's paranormal, that's woo-woo, that's anything. I have to really understand it and learn about it. And the way I look at it, Todd, is this. If in the end, nothing that we think about, nothing that we practice in our lives really leads to anything higher, was it that bad? I mean, if we're kinder, more understanding people because of what we go through and the steps that we take and the beliefs that we have, is that such a bad thing? I don't think so. As long as, again, you're living your life to be kinder, to be gentler, to care about other people. If you're using that belief system or that information to be prejudiced against people or be mean or whatever, then I think that's where the problem lies. Right. You know, it's kind of funny. I don't know a lot about it, but there are some people who are Satan worshipers. Mm-hmm. They're satanic. And yet they're not evil. No, they're not. I mean, there are people who are Christian who are more evil than Satanists, you know? Yeah, it's true. There's a lot of misconceptions about that, not to go down that road, but there are a lot of misconceptions about that. Maybe we can talk about it on a future podcast episode. Maybe we can find somebody who is a Satanist and be on the show. I know, because it's very different than what you think, than the stereotypical because Satan most of us were brought up Christian person. And we were taught Satan was this. Right. So. And most religions are very egocentric in a way. They're religion-centric. Like, if you're this branch of a religion, then you believe this. You can't believe that. Right. And so, you know, we all believe that, okay, if I'm Catholic, this is my set of beliefs. I can't stray from that. And so it's hard for us to understand the way that other people look at the world and have faith. There are so many different kinds of faith. That's why people have a hard time with anyone who isn't of their faith, of the Christian faith. Mm-hmm. So it's very interesting. But in the end, if you're a kind person, if you treat other people well and with respect, and you lift them higher each day, is that a bad thing? Does it really matter what your beliefs and what your faiths are? I don't believe that. I believe that in the end, we're supposed to be kind to each other. So I think that it doesn't matter what you believe as long as you get to a place where you can lift others up each and every day. Sandy has spoken. Pay no attention to that woman behind the curtain. There's no curtain here. Yeah, but so that was my thought for today. Sandy's thought for today.
Very nice. Very nice. Well. I suppose we should get to the podcast, shall we?
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
And then we can talk about something afterwards. I have a little story that I came across.
Okay, sounds good. Let's get to it. Season 3, episode 10. Hooray! For Holly Hughes, part 2 on the Sandy and Toddcast, brought to you by Nuts on Clark. I almost said Clark on Nuts. Holly Hughes on the Sandy and Toddcast. Your daughter was with us before the broadcast, and she is just a very lucky individual to have you as a part of her life, because she has somebody that can teach her all this stuff.
Right.
Yeah. It was pretty open in my household. Like my family, we all have like gifts. I think I said that like last time, on some level, some sort of, I have it more than anybody, but I really explored it. And I think for me, I knew how afraid I was of so many things when I was younger, because I didn't understand it, even though it was, so I don't want her to be afraid, and she's sensitive. She hears a lot of knocking in walls.
Yeah.
So like I have to like really clear for her. An owl landed by her window once, which is cool and scary if you're a little kid and you hear it,
right.
Like that's kind of nutters. So,
I would say so.
And there's like some metal roof line like right by her window. And she's like, what's that noise? I'm like, it's summer. It's just the metal like popping, but she's like, I'm not sleeping in there. Like,
Sometimes I really wish that I had, like, I look back on it now and I'm pretty sure my grandmother had gifts. My mother, even if she did, doesn't want any part of it. So, but I never really had anybody. And my grandmother came from a generation when you really didn't talk about things like that. Mm-hmm. You didn't even understand it. There wasn't really a name to it. And so I really wish sometimes that I had that guidance growing up, because it would have maybe saved me years of feeling crazy and depressed and isolated the way that I did. And now, sort of understanding it and starting my journey this late in life, it's still given me a little bit more freedom.
You're not that late. Wait. I can't, like, you're not that late.
She's having a hip replacement next week. You got to get the walker out.
Are right on time. No, you're right on time. Right on time.
Yeah.
I also think people should know that, like, I've had some amazing teachers and healers, and we get close and then we don't. Then it ends. Yeah. Right. And that can be painful because there's this trust and vulnerability, but it's okay. You'll get through it and you just move on to the next thing. Maybe you're meant to learn something different from a different modality that the other person doesn't. It's kind of like, right. You guys know I'm a writer. So critique groups, sometimes they're so insulary that they don't actually help you grow if you're there for too long, because it's the same advice, the same input, the same perspective. Right. When aren't we into this to like open perspective and like gain insights on something that we don't know?
Right.
Yeah.
So are relationships and love like that as well?
Ooh, that's a big kind of question.
I don't think it is, because I think it really flows. I think the two things go hand in hand. I agree. I worry about this mentality that, not that you don't want to be with someone a long time, but that has to be the person you're with forever, because that's the mentality that we're told in this world. And it's like, well, if you're in a relationship and it's good and it lasts 6 months, that's a good thing, and if you move on to something else, that could be a very good thing as well. Nobody gets an award at the end of everything that says, oh, well, you were together for 25 years. There's no awards at the end. At least nobody told me about it, because I didn't dress for the award show. So,
but nowadays you only have to dress from here up. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
Well, let's see what I got on tonight.
You're going to wear the Beware the Mist shirt. And
I know, right? He made us all stand up and show what we were wearing under one night. I'm wearing
pajama bottoms because, I rushed here.
I've got sweatpants on. I went out to dinner with my girlfriends tonight beforehand, and I had jeans on, but I put sweatshirt. I was not drinking. I literally messaged him from the restaurant and said, I'm on my way home now, and I didn't drink tonight. I literally said that.
Damn lucky you sent that message, because I was waiting to find out.
But I subscribe to the idea that everybody comes into your life for a reason. To teach you something, to be there with you, to support you, whatever that reason may be, whether it's for a day or it's for 10 years, or it's for 50 years. They're there for some reason. And so I've learned, I guess I've kind of learned to understand that. And I don't really get as upset as I used to be if something stopped, if something ended, because I know that they were there for that amount of time. And so that's just sort of
You're probably
how
better
it goes.
than me then. I get hurt. It hurts me, right? Like I know a great deal of people, but I only consider a few very close, right?
Yeah.
Like I have good boundaries. I'm also married, so I don't text 700 people during the day.
Right.
I don't know. I have a career. I have a kid. But some people are really needy. No,
yes.
That's not a nice word.
Yes.
But they are. They need something. And I'm like, I need an adult relationship. That's not what I'm looking for in a friendship. I believe in soul groups. I think you make contracts with people to come and interact and meet. How long that is or how not. I think the younger generation have different definitions of sexuality, of relationship, of polyamory, of what is monogamous. Do they want relationships? And my attitude is like, do what works for you. Don't hurt me. I'm good.
Well, do you think that maybe that's part of the reason why is because I've sort of put my walls up for that kind of stuff? Because I don't talk
for polyamory. What?
No.
I like making Todd laugh.
Is anybody there?
Fun.
Hello.
It's fun.
No, I mean in general, like I was saying,
Polyamory's on the phone right now, and she wanted to check in on you, Sandy. Polly's like, Sandy, that's not what we were talking about.
Like, you're pretty dedicated to your marriage, so I'm confused. What's going on?
No, I mean just in general, like I've sort of learned, I sort of look at it like, people come into your life for a reason and they leave for a reason, but I'm like you, I have a very small circle. It's my mother, Todd, and Dave. That's pretty much my tiny little circle that, and I do get hurt, but I've sort of learned that, it's acceptance of maybe this wasn't meant to be a friendship in my life for a long time. Or
I think for you, your thing was you were so busy being an empath and a helper and a healer to other people unconsciously that you might have attracted vampire-y kind of people, right? People who just sucked your energy. See how I was so politically correct that way. I feel so good about myself.
I can tell you stories. There are
I can see it.
Days when I can't. I get messages all day long some days, and I don't have the ability to even open them. I won't even open them for a while because I have to wait until I'm able to do it.
Oh, you don't have to open them. I think I'm trying to give you a new path. So you were that, right? You operated in this way. You have a huge heart, right? You are a kind person. You are a curious person, and you're open to all of these things. And so you are open, which is fine, but we can put like parameters on that open. So we want to invite those who are also curious and who are satisfied within themselves so they don't need from me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to remember what that I just said. So you write that one down because that was a channeled message.
I got it forever in video.
Okay, excellent. So like for me, that's what it is. So for you, it's leveling up in how you do relationship, right? Like you're so busy caretaking, right? That I would invite a little more fun, like you guys have, right? You have like this fun. It doesn't always have to be as intimate at this. Like you can just have the one who's fun, who will go to the store and go shoe shopping with me. Yeah. Like you can have that kind of friend, and it doesn't mean it's diminished, but you give it stronger parameters.
I have always been attracted to connections. Connections.
Connect over shoes, and then it's this.
Right. Yeah, no, you make total sense.
Because look at this, you have so many amazing intimate relationships. You have one with your husband. You have an amazing relationship with Todd, even though he makes faces. And
because I know the truth.
Right.
I know all of the truths.
So I think you're incredibly lucky that you have people around you who see you, support you, adore you. Right.
I am. Very
so
lucky.
you can have some friends that are just for fun.
Yeah.
They don't have to know everything, and you can enjoy that part. Yeah. A little.
And I have to work on that. I have to learn that. I do. I have to, but that makes complete sense. And that is the best advice probably I have ever received, because that's me. I'm a healer. I'm a fixer. I've always been the fixer. I've always been the answer to everybody's problem. And
get yourself a new definition, babe. That's what the book's all about.
I know.
Use different words.
Except in her marriage. Dave has to kill every mosquito, every spider, fix every nail poking out of the wall, plug every appliance in.
But he likes
Dave has
that.
to do all that stuff.
He likes it.
I know he does.
It's his love language. I can fix that. I got that.
You're right.
I have to tell Holly about the conversation we had this day. So about 2 or 3 weeks before we went on vacation to go visit him, I was telling him I wanted to go to Nuts on Clark. Okay. And
how does Nuts on Clark come up again in the podcast?
Who names this? Who named that?
Several years ago, we were in Chicago at the airport, and they have this popcorn company called Nuts on Clark, and it had the best popcorn ever. So I found out they have a flagship store in Chicago. So I was so excited to get to go to Nuts on Clark. So I was telling him
You just said that like 10 times. I just do you not have a graphic that it should just be Nuts on Clark?
Actually, I did have one. I deleted it tonight because I didn't think we'd need it, but I'll make it again.
I'm thinking they need to give you money.
But this is I'm telling him, and I'm messaging him, and I'm telling him like what our plans are for that specific day. And he's like, are you ever going to let Dave do something he wants to do? And I said, Dave loves it. And he's like, Dave might want to go to Boobs on Debbie or something. And that was one of the funniest things that I had ever seen. I'm like, Dave, do you want to go to like Boobs on Debbie? He's like, what are you talking about? So Dave and I have many interests that we enjoy doing things together. So
I think you guys are solid as a rock. I think it's fun. I just think it's too fun for Todd not to go there because he gets to pretend to be the curmudgeon that he is, right? He's like,
of course, pretend being the operative word. Being the operative word.
But he's a river rock. We know this. He's a river rock.
And Dave were like best friends. When we were there, they were like BFFs the whole time.
There were a couple of hugs, I'll be honest with you. Dave and I hugged a couple of times. And that was not easy for either one of us, I could tell.
But yet they did it.
We did.
So,
and I saw the picture. You guys actually all have legs. That's very exciting.
Isn't that great? That's just amazing.
Holly, we talked a little bit about empaths tonight. I kind of want to wrap up our session on that. Sandy and I are working on a new podcast. We're going to continue doing this one. But this podcast started off being one about paranormal, and then it eventually kind of evolved into a bunch of other stuff, which is great. But I feel like sometimes our needs as the podcaster aren't met because we're not always necessarily talking about stuff that truly interests us or is important to us. And so we're just going to have this little side project called the Empathicary podcast. So we're taking apothecary and empath and mixing them together.
I figured that out. I just picking up what you were laying down there.
Well, but see, there's some people
I don't think anyone's sarcastic enough back to you. So I am here. I'm enjoying that.
Be careful. I have the switch in my hand right now that can just wipe you out right now. So I kind of want to get your thoughts on it. You heard about it. I explained it a little bit. What do you think? Is it a good thing for us to do? Do you think?
Not to like, yeah. What's not? Yeah. I mean, you're both curious about it. You are connected to a lot of people. I think it's going to take a path that you didn't expect, and then it's going to turn something on for you, Todd.
Okay.
Like something that someone says is going to help flick that switch. And I think it's going to help take away some of the fear that you have towards your gifts, right? That you're like, no, I just don't do that. And it's just a fear, really, of like, what happens when I open the door? Like, how do I close it? How many pillows do I put up against it when I'm telling them like I'm overwhelmed or I'm dealing with stuff? But like good energy knows that. So I think it's cool.
And it was
like, what's your first thing that you kind of want to do? I'm like kind of curious now. You already have your sister and the amazing pendulum stuff. You have empaths who come in.
But, you would be a perfect person to have on that and just kind of discuss that level of it. And I would like to do some class type stuff. I would like to get
fun.
Where we kind of teach empaths. And again, everybody's different, but some basic ways of protecting yourself, how to deal with it, how to realize, like tonight, how to realize if it's your energy you're feeling or if it's somebody else's.
I can give a quick tip on that now if you want. If you want to keep it on your
absolutely.
podcast. Okay, so for everyone who's an empath, I just want you to like chill out, take a breath, just like get into your body. You don't have to get Zen. But like, just think of your energy and then hold your hands like this. Go ahead. I'm waiting. Okay. What are you doing?
Doing it.
No. Okay. Okay. For Todd, I want you to hold them closer, like to your throat and heart. So move closer to your body. Yeah. Like over there. And then like, I would tell you to close your eyes. And then I just want you to feel your own energy between your hands. Most people will start feeling heat in the palm of their hand. Right. I know Sandy can feel the pulsation between, because I could see it in her hands.
Yep.
And Todd's is very tiny. Todd's is a tiny light, like one of my boyfriends, Chris Pratt, in Guardians of the Galaxy, when he plays catch with his dad and he makes a kind of thing. You've got a little going there.
Yeah,
but it's there. Right. So if you just feel that, then you know that's your energy. And then whenever you're around someone you trust, you can do that and then put your hand over that person and ask to feel theirs. And it will feel different in your hand. You might get different sensations. And then if you really want to go for it, you just say, push theirs back. And then it should get cooler. Literally.
Okay.
I have to try that.
But amazing. You see, like, even like everyone's like, of course you could feel something because it's your hands close together. But some people don't.
No, but it's different. It's different though. It's different because I can truly feel like a pulsating.
Yeah. Well, yours is doing that because
you're right on. Mine's like, that's about it right there.
Yours is it's a marble. Yours was a marble.
It's like Rudolph's little nose and he's out in the cold and the snow with you.
But for you, that's massive. See, like we're joking, but I don't want to joke because if you are starting, I don't want you to judge what you feel. That's the whole point. It's like you have this, and then when you're not on air and you want to play a little and you're like, all right, make it bigger. And then say, give me a shape. And you see as your eyes close, if you feel a shape, if you are imagining a shape, and intuition comes from the same place over here by your third eye as imagination. So some people don't know that they are intuitive. They think they're making things up.
See, I don't know that line because I've always been very imaginative, but I have those very strong feelings, those strong visions, all that kind of stuff. And I don't know where that line is.
Sometimes I feel like you get like a metallic taste in your mouth, or like, I don't know how to explain that. You know, like
minty? Is it like minty?
But we can, do you want me to ask them to give you a signal that you can pay attention to?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So my teeth are grinding. So I think you're a grinder or a clencher, right? So what I'm going to ask them to do is, you know, that I don't know how much dental work you've had because I've never seen the inside of your mouth, but there's a taste of that metal, you know, everyone who's been to the dentist, like that nasty. I'm going to ask them to put that taste in your mouth.
Okay.
And then you're going to get a twinge of it. And just a twinge, because you don't like being overwhelmed. And if I sent you a wave of energy, you would feel it and you'd be like, stop. And I'm going to respect that you have a boundary of, I just want a little bit. And when I get comfortable with just that little bit of information, I'll ask when I want more. See, your boundaries are super duper strong, right? You're like 3 walls deep, right? That's a technical term. But anyway,
it works.
So
it's good sound effects too.
Right. But that is who you are. So why mess with that? Right. Like when clients come and they want to work with me, I have to respect how much they can take in, even if they're asking for something, right? Like there's only so much your body can process. And right now you're still physically going through stuff, right? So why would we add sensation to that? That would be foolish and not very nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm in love. I'm in love with Holly. She's so wonderful. Honestly, like I think of all the people that, you know, we've had on the show and stuff like that, if I could open up to someone, it would probably be her.
Yeah, I think so.
Seriously. That's just the way I feel. Now,
I agree.
Talk about people coming to you and working with you.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how they can do that, because this is a really cool website that I think people should check out, which is hollyhughesintuitive.com. And it's a great website, by the way. We were talking about the color scheme. I love it so much.
Me too.
Yeah. In theory, to come and like feel good, right?
Yeah.
So,
yes.
Yep.
That's the whole thing. Yeah, you know, it's super easy. You can hit that big button that says book a session in the top right corner. There you go.
Right there.
And then you go ahead, click on it. It's so simple.
I just did. Let's see if it happens.
Let's see. Oh, because we have a lot of stuff on here. We're streaming, but I do Zoom or phone. At the beginning of the pandemic, even though I had Zoom, I didn't like doing Zoom sessions because people would get like all perfect for camera.
Right.
And then I can't read because you're projecting so hard. Right. So phone, in person, and Zoom, and I get all of the same information, just like how I can see these guys and get information from them. First sessions always go super fast, just because it's usually a bigger thing that's happening. But I actually, several people have been asking me to do workshops, but because of COVID I like doing things face to face. So I had to put them all off. Like I did a writer's retreat. I think we talked about this last time, right? In Charleston, where I talked about all the ghosts that I saw. We were supposed to go. We were supposed to go to Salem, and then the next one I wanted to do was down in New Orleans. But that whole voodoo, I have to figure out if I'm like emotionally prepared because it's taxing. But yeah, easiest way to work with me is that way. Sometimes I've gone to a few parties. Someone invited me to their house, and I had like 10 people, and everyone could ask a question. But when I got there was a ghost. So you know how to get rid of that guy first. I was like, did your dog get upset? Is there something going on upstairs? She's like, I was like, this is an industrial spot, and a kid who used to work in there died in the machinery, and he's sitting there on the steps. Oh my gosh. And she's like that. And I point to the steps. She's like, you're freaking me out that you're pointing. I'm like, it's because I can see the kid,
Do you have you crossed people over? Do you do that kind of?
When I see a ghost?
Yeah.
Yes. Because why keep them there? But they have to be willing. Like I crossed that little boy over. And even though the people in the room were not expecting anything like that, or that I didn't expect to be doing that, but they, like when the boy changed, the dog's behavior changed. Yeah. And two of the girls were like, did the temperature in here just change? And I was like, yeah, he's gone now. Yep. I think sometimes they just don't know kind of thing. But in Charleston, my experience with most of them that sit on their graves, they know what they're doing. They're just having fun.
Right. We could do a whole other hour about this, but I just want to ask you a quick question about that. I feel like I could do that. I've started to feel like I could do that. But how does it feel when you do that? How does it feel for you personally? Can you tell physically if you do that?
Yeah. How do I want to keep, I have 2 minutes. I want to stay on your time limit.
Oh, no, don't worry about it.
You're fine. You're fine.
Because I no longer offer mediumship readings as a thing because it is like, even thinking about it, I'm starting to cry. It just, can you see? It's in a very emotional, visceral, because I have to be so open, and the person who wants the reading wants certain information, right? So when I used to do them, I would need a picture or an object. That's how I would kind of tune in. I feel good about doing what I did with those people for an answer, but a lot of people, when they want mediumship readings, can I just suggest this? Don't get stuck on the moment of death. Please don't do that, because as the medium, they're making me feel it.
Yeah.
And then I have to relive it and feel it and feel it and feel it. And it's because I get an emotional response. Yep. So that you are similar. So when I see someone who's willing to cross, I always envision a white door above me. It's typically to the right, like way above me, right? It's not in the same dimension kind of thing, but it's a big door. And I open the door and I say, whoever you love is waiting for you. Sometimes I ask for an angel. I crossed a slave who was connected to a kitchen stove. There was this one woman, every time I went to Charleston, it was a slave, and she was chained to the pot in the kitchen where she had lived her life. And it was a small building near a bank parking lot, which is the weirdest thing. That I would have this insane visceral thing. And during the last workshop, I walked the people there, and I was like, this is the woman that I see. And I was like, let's try to free her. Why is she spending eternity in this pain of slavery? Right. So, I opened the door, for me to heaven, and for her, Christian heaven. She didn't want to go there. That's not her thing. And I'm like, I'm not Christian. You're okay. But there was another woman who was a Black woman in the group, and she got super emotional. And I was like, let's open the space for her, for it's her heaven and free of pain. And and I literally told her, I'm taking off your chain and I'm setting you free. And then like that, I had to go home. I went to the hotel and I slept for 2 hours. It just, but she was gone. And then I never felt her there, whatever. It's a visceral kind of experience for me because you are so sensitive. I think it is a gift of yours, but I would need you to learn and control how you ground. And I need you to know when to turn it off. Like you would have to only go in for a specific thing. Don't be like open like you are, right? Like, oh, I'm going to be here. And then they'll all be like, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then like, that'll be too much. It'll give Todd more headaches, for goodness sakes. You guys are so connected.
It's definitely something that I have to work on. And that's why I don't know that I would be ready to do that at this point.
You know, they're showing me that you should wear, this is fascinating. Ooh, this is fascinating. They're showing me, I'm calling them belly dancer bells. You know, the anklets with like jinglies on them?
Yeah.
That will be important for you when you do it.
Okay.
Like, I know, Todd. These are the things, the messages that I get. It will make sense when you're ready. But I think I'm cueing in that you are connected to sound.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So for you, it's like, okay, and the door is closed and we are done and we are here and we're done.
Okay.
Yeah, like a close the door. Like when I'm done with a guided meditation, I say amen. It's a really nice way to end. Doesn't matter what faith you are, or if you're no faith, doesn't hurt. It's a word, right? So like a big amen to that. We're good. I tell people to stamp their feet before they drive just to make sure, like, because I'll send them places. Like don't drive while you're dizzy, please. Like that's super important. Right. So yeah, but I think for you, sound is really key. It's going to affect Todd. So whatever you do, you guys are like connected that way. So Todd, one day you and I are be talking. I'm going to like,
please.
I was waiting for him to have
I'm just going to go and book right now. I'm just, as soon as we're done, I'm going on and I'm booking a couple of sessions.
I think for you, because you guys are energetically, empathically connected and there's like love there, right? So it has to be a choice today. It would be a closing of a door. So like, okay, so there's the other thing. I'm going to totally jump on. I know you guys can handle it, right? Yeah. So my favorite Halloween thing is The Others. This house is ours.
Oh, yes.
I love that.
That is a great movie.
That. Yeah.
So
Good
you
movie.
two kind of have similar like connections to like, you know, the doors are like, don't let the light in, don't let the light in, right? Okay, first of all, why isn't that one ever on Netflix? Like I can never actually like.
I don't know, but I love that movie.
I'm going to have to watch that one. Anyway,
I love
that one's like my favorite. But like you guys have almost like that ghostly spiritually thing together. So I'm going to say it's an ancestor between the two of you that shared that I'm seeing above you. Like it feels like a man. So I don't know whoever that is right now. They're making me sweat. I don't really want to know his name yet. So anyway, so like I would, when you do your super woo-woo crossing things, we're going to ask that guide to not include Todd's energy in it. And you're going to have to learn how to, that's what you need to do. You pull energy, but you pull his.
Yeah.
So we need to stop doing that.
Oh, so that makes a lot of sense. No
Does
wonder
that make
I've
sense
been
to
feeling.
you?
That's why I've been feeling like shit for the last 6 months of my life. She's been pulling all my energy. She's the vampire.
It's not that. It's that you guys are so cosmically, we'll call it that, soul level connected, right? So we just need to be like, I appreciate that. It's like, you know, the Wonder Twins, right? You know, you activate, you do stuff, and there you go.
The Wonder Twins.
Pretty sure it's my my depression.
Your form of the monkey, and she is an ice ball.
No, I can only be ice. Remember, I can only be water. She can be any animal she wants.
I can be the animal.
I can be a bucket of ice.
No, I reversed you. Yeah.
That sounds about right. He's the ice wall.
Yeah.
And so we've talked about the Wonder Twins before. I love it. I can be any
Did
animal.
you? That's amazing.
Really? Are you kidding me? I have them all set up. There they are.
Wait, didn't they have a pet? They had a pet.
Yeah, they had the monkey Gleek.
Monkey.
The monkey
Gleek.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Now, Holly, speaking of Salem, you mentioned Salem a little while ago. Todd may be coming out next fall, and we may be all going to Salem.
That was just a little possibility. I would like to go back there at some point.
Right. It's a possibility. And so if this happens, you should meet us in Salem.
That would be so fun.
That would be awesome.
Everybody bring their broomsticks. We're going to go flying for the night.
If we end up doing it, that would be amazing.
Oh, I totally. And then I get to zap you in person. How fun!
I know. Oh, she's gonna zap.
They're also wait. Trip is canceled. The last thing that they're telling me about the two of you is Sandy should wear copper, and you need some hematite. So when you want to like change the change the polarity of what you guys are, your vibe, because you need to vibe up. You're doing more stuff. Mm-hmm. So. All right, Sandy, I want you to get something copper.
Okay.
Like a bracelet. And Todd, you need some hematite.
You know, that's funny. Hematite's always kind of been my thing. And I wonder if that would be
That's because you're a grounding god, right? You're the grounding god.
Don't call him a god,
maybe I should see if I can find some hematite to see if that would work for my pendulum.
Yeah, well, what that pendulum was dark anyway. What was that?
That was my birthstone with that purple stuff. The
amethyst?
Amethyst, yeah.
Todd wears hematite already. Who wrote that? Who wrote that?
I have no idea.
Is that the guy behind the Iron Curtain?
Yeah, the guy behind the Iron Curtain.
Behind the Iron Curtain.
All right.
I make hematite break, so it doesn't work for me. But you're that vibration, so I would like embrace it.
Okay.
Very good.
I will do that.
Definitely.
Holly, thank you so much for taking time to talk with us.
Gosh. We love
it was
you.
very nice meeting your daughter. And yeah,
she
it was
loves
wonderful.
You guys
She's
so
great.
much.
She's great. So
we love you. Are you going to come back?
I mean, every time.
There you go. Part 2 of the Holly Hughes interview we had on a live cast a few weeks ago.
I just adore her. I adore her, Todd. She's wonderful. More Holly Hughes coming.
What, you beautiful souls. I'm so excited to have this platform where I can share my gifts, the things that I do, what we need to do as a collective energy to really step into soul's path. Reiki and healing and alignment. Oh my goodness, these are all so very important in what we do. I have a daily podcast that I do. You can find me on Spotify and Anchor for your daily vibes, your energies as a collective unit, right? You can also find me on my Facebook page where I really go more in depth with it, but you can find me at Mystic Karma by Victoria.
This is the Sandy and Toddcast.
We're already booking into almost our 4th season now. Is it 3rd season or 4th season? We're going into our 4th season. So we're already starting to book that, you know?
We're wrapping up the 3rd season and going into the 4th at the beginning of the year. I'm so excited.
She's so excited. She can't believe that we're actually an episode. Okay. You had something else you wanted to bring up.
I hate you and I love you.
Yeah.
So I just have to tell you this I found. It's so weird. It's a little bit like just gross, I guess, in a weird way, but it's also kind of fascinating. I love weird things, weird facts. In the southern states, especially states like Texas, I came across this on the internet, of course. There is a fish called the Atlantic croaker.
Okay.
And they found one right around Galveston not too long ago that had a parasite in it. And this parasite is crazy. It's called a tongue-eating louse. So what it does is it eats the fish's tongue, and then it becomes the fish's tongue. Think about that.
Shut up. Wait a minute. Play that back one more time. What?
Okay. So this parasite called the tongue-eating louse goes inside the mouth of the Atlantic croaker, and it eats its tongue, and then it becomes this fish's tongue. It attaches itself to the fish's mouth, and then it feeds and it eats the tongue, attaches itself, and then it feeds on the fish's like mucus. I'm not kidding. This is true. It's the only known case where a parasite functionally replaces the host's organ. Like it literally becomes the organ of the fish. It doesn't kill the fish and it doesn't affect humans in any way. That's what it does. I know. It's weird. But that's why I had to talk about it, because it was so strange.
That's what scares me about like all these diseases and viruses and stuff like that. who knows? One day we could have a virus like that comes in, eats your tongue, right? And then it's a louse that gets in your mouth and it eats your tongue, and then it becomes your tongue. And still in this country, nobody would wear a mask. Nobody would, because it'd be false. You know, it's fake news. My
question is, though, why hasn't there been a movie made about this yet? Because there's been movies made about dumber stuff.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
I know.
Some of these really bad horror movies, this would fit right in. It's just so creepy. Like, something eats your tongue and then becomes your tongue. Can you imagine? At least they don't talk.
Coming to a theater near you, The Croaker Fish, in a movie called Tongue Me.
That's all I've got. That's all I got.
That would be...
Lick this. Let me eat your mucus.
Oh, my God. I think we better stop there.
Hey, what am I? I'm a louse, right? What's my name?
Yeah, it's a tongue-eating louse.
I'm a tongue-eating louse. Thank you for saying hello to me. Let me get a nice voice here. Nope. Hold on. We'll find something. I'm gonna find something yet. Hold on.
Woo.
Just keep working at it. Hold on. It'll happen. Oh, yeah. I think it's gonna happen. I think I may have found it. Hello. Oh, I'm down here in the mouth. Hello.
I'm down here in the mouth.
I'm his tongue now. Hello, check 1, 2. Oh, there I am.
Yeah. How did I get into this Twilight Zone?
Let me eat your tongue.
Oh my God.
I want to become your tongue.
Give me that tongue. Give me that tongue.
Tongue-eating louse.
He has a lisp.
He has a what? He has a lisp?
He has a lisp.
Well, yeah, because it's a tongue, right? That's what you get a lisp from your tongue.
Exactly,
Lift.
right?
So, yeah.
So, anyway, so that was my story, but that kind of leads us into our latest episode of the Empathicary podcast that we did about energy vampires.
Yeah. And so if you want to, if you are an empath or you know somebody who is, or you want to know more about energy vampires or know if you are one, it's a great podcast to check out. Search for the Empathicary podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. It should be there. You can also find it on Facebook. There's a page. Search for the Empathicary podcast. We also have some posts on our Facebook page for the Sandy and Toddcast where you can find it as well. But listen up on it. It really is about being an empath and dealing with individuals who are just there to suck your energy. Plain and simple.
Yeah. And we called it, I Came to Suck Your Energy.
I came to suck your energy.
I love it. And it has its own Facebook page as well. So you can get all the episodes there as they come out. But I love this Empathicary podcast mostly because I think we needed it. We need to talk about these things because we deal with them all the time.
And they don't always like fit into the format of this show. And so it made sense to kind of create something else for us to kind of delve into that.
Yeah. And there's no set amount of episodes we do. It's when something comes up and we think of something that we want to talk about, and no set amount of time. It's just for us and for anybody who it might actually help.
Yep. Pass that along. Let others know about it. We would appreciate that as well. So for the Sandy and Toddcast and for everybody who's a part of the program, all of our intuitives, Dan Phillips, who does our music, to everybody who's involved with the podcast, thank you so much. Thanks for listening. And until next time, bye.
Bye.